Hi everybody, thanks for joining Create with Dee. Today I have a guest stamper with me, Rita Bauman. Hi Rita.
Hello Dee.
Rita was one of the facilitators at our recent Stamp-A-Palooza 2017, and Rita's card was a center step card, but it was a little twist. It's a center step card that's also an easel card. Let's get started making this cute fun fold. So this fancy fun fold, the centerfold card, it does use a 12 by 5.5 piece of cardstock, and we're going to make several unique score lines along the way. But the first one at 3, like I'm going to go scoring it from this direction here. So like as I feed it down my trimmer, this is going to be the scoring line here. So the first score I'm going to do is going to be from the left hand side, or the left hand side. I'm going to score at 3 3/4, and then at 6 7/8 I'm going to score it, but I'm going to just score it 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the bottom. Go over here to 10 inch, do the same thing, 1 inch from the top, 1 inch from the bottom, and one more time at 11. And then what we're going to do is between the score lines here, we're going to cut a line to connect these two score lines. And the same thing here, cut to connect the score lines from the 6 7/8 down to the 11. And then the last score that we're going to do is we're going to come in here 1 inch from our previous score line and score between the two cut panels. And so that's going to measure 7 7/8 when we have it on our trimmer. So let's put this into action. Just do it with me. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and extend out the arm on our Stampin' Trimmer. And we'll get our little cheat sheet here of what we need to do. So our first score is going to be at the 3 3/4. And the lighter gray on our trimmer is what we want. So we'll do that. Then we're going to move it down to the 6 7/8, and that's going to be the second hash mark from the 7. So it's a little hash mark, big hash mark, 1, 2. And we're going to, you can either, here's 1 inch, so that's all that I want to do. So I'm going to go up and down and stop at 1. I'm going to pick it up. And we wanted 1 inch on the other side, so that means starting the score at 4.5, down, and then back up, just to kind of reinforce it. Okay, so now we're going to scoot this down to 10 inch and repeat. Repeat the dropping it down just a 1/2 inch, or to 1 inch, excuse me, to 1 inch, pick up the arm, come down to 4.5, and score. And we're going to pick it up, move it down to 11 inches. Same thing. Drop down to 1, score, 4.5, score. Now what we want to do is we're going to turn the card a quarter of a turn, so the 5.5 is up at the top. And I'm going to line up the right-hand side to the 1 inch mark. Move this over a little bit so you can see. So line that up to the 1 inch, because our scoring that we did came in to 1 inch. Okay, so it's hard to see, but here's my 1 inch scores here where we started at 6 7/8, 10, and 11. But this time what we want to do is we want to use our cutting blade. And so, again, I've got this over here at the 1. I'm going to come up here to the 6 7/8, and I'm going to drop this all the way down to the 11 inch mark. Okay, so I've now done that cut. I'm going to flip it over to the other side, line it up to the 1 inch over past to the right of the cutting track, 6 7/8. Which again, the 7/8 is the second hash mark from 7, and drop down the cutting blade to 11. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, so that's what it should look like. Now we're going to turn it back to our original position here with the 12-inch along the top line. And now what we want to do is just make a score line here at 7 7/8. So I'm going to line that up to 7 7/8. It's the second hash mark from the 8. And this time I'm going to start at 1 inch. So I'm skipping the first part, dropping it down at 1 inch, and scoring until I get to 4.5, and then back up. All right, we've just made our score and cut marks for our centerfold. So let's go ahead, I'll put this off to the side. What we want to do is start to burnish these and to get our step mechanism. Okay, so here was our 3 7/8 or 3 3/4. On this first one here, I'm going to just pinch it for now. We're going to burnish all of these. We're going to give them good creases later on. I'm going to pinch those. I'm going to pinch back the one at 10 inch. And I'm going to pinch forward the 11 inch. Again, we're going to come back and really get these nice, good creases. And then where we just scored in between the two cut lines, we're going to pinch that forward. Okay, you can start to see how this is coming together. Okay, so now let's get all good creases now that we know where we need them to be. And you can almost just go ahead and collapse this one right now, the front panel, because that's what we want it to do anyways. But we've given it a good head start on that. So now we've got, that's how the side view is going to be. So now we've got our easel step card base. Yay! All of these instructions and this template you can find on my blog at the link below the video here. So you can get a better visual of it for future making. Okay, let's decorate our card. All right, now that we have the base made, let's talk about the other components of the card and the measurements that we need. So first of all, Rita, if you'd open up the card for me, thank you. This is going to be the stopping mechanism point of our easel. And so we need layering pieces of Cajun craze. And this is cut at 5 1/4 by 3 1/2. Very vanilla, cut at 5 3/4. And for the sentiment, that again is going to help act as the stopping mechanism for our easel, this is cut at 3 1/4 by 1 1/2. And then the very vanilla is 3 by 1 1/4. All right, now for the top section of our center fold card, the main component there, where the sunflowers front and center, the Cajun craze is 3 1/4 by 3, and the very vanilla is 3 by 2 3/4. The bottom section, the long panel right below it, Cajun craze, is 5 1/4 by 3/4, and very vanilla 5 by 1/2. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not the very vanilla, sorry, it's the designer series paper. Oh my goodness, the designer series paper painted harvest, and again, that's going to be cut at 5 1/2. And then the sides that we need, we're going to need a set of these, so 2 each of Cajun craze, cut at 2 3/4 by 3/4, and then again the designer series paper painted harvest at 2 1/2 by 1/2. And then let's get some stamping done. The stamp sets that we're using on this project are the Painted Harvest stamp set. This is new in the 2017 holiday catalog. I love this stamp set. I can't stop playing with it. It's so gorgeous, so gorgeous. And also we're going to use touches of texture because we want to use this little splatter texture to help, I guess, fill in the spaces on it. So Rita, why don't we go ahead and we'll use the touches of texture, the little splatter thing and image, and we'll get this all inked up. Or, I guess should I say stamped up. So we're using Pear Pizzazz, And this is going to be the front layer so far, or the front panel on it. So this is going to be the main sunflower image. And while we have our pear pizzazz out, we're also going to add the splatter pattern to the bottom sections. Thank you, Rita. So this will be the bottom section of the easel. And again, the beauty of this touches of texture image is it really helps fill in the negative space on it, and it just really, this card just needed that little something extra to it. And then we'll also stamp the textured image onto the Very Vanilla that will be on the sentiment. Awesome. So with crushed curry, we're going to stamp this background part of the sunflower first. And I do want to point out that the stamp image will make this variated kind of watercolor look all automatically. So it's not going to be, meaning it's not going to be a consistent solid color. You will get the color variations on it. So again, we're going to take that first part of the layering sunflower. It is what you would call a two-step stamp set, because you're going to need 2 stamps and 2 steps in order to create it. So it's going to be super light there in the background first, and then we'll go ahead and we'll take the Cajun Craze. Alright, so with using the other layering image from the sunflower, we're using Cajun Craze, and we'll do our best to line up where the center is. Ooh, it's so pretty. It comes together so awesomely. Next, we're going to use Early Espresso, and this is the center of the sunflower. And we'll go line it up. And you know, the nature of this stamp set is that there is going to be a little, what I want to say, opening around it. So if you can see here, there's a little opening right here, but not to worry, because we are going to use Wink of Stella on this. And Rita, if you would, go ahead and blush, or or just, you know, add Wink of Stella all to the sunflower. And it kind of acts as a painting mechanism. Alrighty, so when you use Wink of Stella, it is, you know, it is liquid. And so it almost acts as a watercolor paintbrush, kind of. It will actually blend in the colors a little bit when you drag them in. And so we're just adding Wink of Stella not only for some added sparkleness to the project, but it will also blend in those lines of the sunflower. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stamp these 2 sunflowers in the corner here. And so we're pretty much going to only have about 1/4 of the layering piece on the corners there. So again, it's going to seem kind of weird, but you're going to have about only 1/4 of the image there on the corners. And on our original one, you know, if you want to, you can stamp off on the Timeless Texture a little bit if you want that lighter. But, you know, we kind of liked this whole darker image on it for it. Okay, so we've got our little, the base of it. So now we'll come in with crushed curry again. And again, we just need 1/4 of that image on. And that's why we've got the paper towel underneath of our project. We do have the piercing mat for some foam, I guess, support for our photopolymers. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then again, we'll have a little bit of the center. And once we get those 2 down, then we'll once again come in with our Wink of Stella, the clear Wink of Stella, and we'll blend those colors together and have even more sparkle to it. Now on your sunflower, what you may notice is that it doesn't appear right away, but with our new ink pads that we have, or I guess they're not so new anymore, sometimes it takes a little bit for the color to completely saturate it and for the image to really pop. So just give it a little time if you need to for that. Okay, we're ready to move on. So now we have, we're going to stamp the I'm I Am Thankful For You sentiment, and we're using the Early Espresso ink once again, and we're just going to stamp this on our very vanilla layering piece right in the center. I'll go ahead and give that a nice stamp. Thanks, Rita. It's so good to have a stamping friend doing it with you.
Yes, it is.
Now we can start putting the layering pieces together. All right, so let's, off camera, we went ahead and layered all of our pieces onto our Cajun Craze backdrop. And so let's just start putting the sides together. We're using the multi-purpose glue. And these are the little side panels that will go on the left and right side of the center step. And we are centering them, you know, on there where that little fold is at. Keeping it there. And then next we'll go ahead and put down the strip. Now when you start putting these down, guys, just real quick, so here's the base of it. So this is going to go down this way, and when you fold up your card, it's that one. Okay, so just make sure that you have it going in the right direction that you need it to. Alrighty, so this is the longer piece that will sit down towards the bottom of the centerfold, or part of it. And now we'll put the sunflower piece, and again, that's going to go right above it.
Right, make sure it's going the right direction, because this way is wrong.
That's right, because there's just, I think, 1/4 of an inch difference between, like, you know, which way it goes. So perfect, thank you for that reminder, Rita. We just want to make sure that, you know, you do have it going the right direction so that it fits nicely between those score lines that we have. Okay, so that's done. So let's go ahead and we'll put the sentiment and the stopper point of it on the other side. So we'll flip it over, and then on the, you know, the panel, again, it's the side opposite of what we just did. That bottom section is where we're going to put, I keep calling it the stopper piece. But I absolutely love how this looks. Those sunflowers in the corner just kind of keep the happiness just coming. It's so cute. I love it. So pretty. Okay, for any easel card, as I mentioned several times, you do need a stopper, something for it to actually, you know, keep up and not keep sliding off. So what we used in this project is the new gold faceted gems that you can find in the annual catalog. And we're going to use 2 of them on the top corners of the sentiment. Faceted, fauceted, whatever it is. It's the bathroom faucet, and I don't know if it's interchangeable or not, but I'm kind of using it this way, isn't it? Or aren't I? Goodness.
It's working.
It's working, though. These pretty gold things, just make a stopper for it. So we'll put 2 on the top part of the corners, again, as our stopper, and then we'll use one of the larger ones. It's going to go right into the center of our front and center sunflower. Now with these fun folds, what you'll find is the more that you play with it, that you really, you know, open and close it, the more that the easel part of it will work. And so if you go to stand it up, and if it doesn't stand up as nicely as what Rita just made it do there, just go ahead and open it back up, you know, kind of fold those score lines one more time or press them, and just keep playing with it till you have that. Well, what I loved about this, besides just how nice and fall-y it looked, was that it does collapse for you to be able to mail it. Whoops. Yep. So if you know, kind of fan fold it back like this, you can actually put that into a standard envelope and mail it. You might have to give the recipient a little instruction on how, you know, to use it, but it will, you know, mail that way if you like. And then look how cute it is. Oh my gosh. See, there we go. It's kind of hovering a little bit. But again, just play with it a little more until you get it. Well, thank you so much for watching our centerfold Easel card. It's a mouthful, but what a cute, fun fold to try, and a way to, maybe you haven't played with your 12 by 12 cardstock for a while, so it's another way to think about it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and happy crafting. Bye-bye.